The initial part of this story goes back to the beginning of October when California passed a law, which, oh boy, this was something. Gavin Newsom signed in a law that basically outlawed medical misinformation. Now, what exactly does that mean? Whatever the official line is, you have to repeat it ad nauseum. California makes it illegal for doctors to disagree with politicians. Yes, exactly. Whatever the official line, whatever the experts have to say, whatever the doctors that are on the government payroll say, well, that's the law right now. And to disagree with any of the official takes, like, oh, I don't know, can anybody else think of a couple of things that might have, been a little bit contentious from the offset, only to come out later to be, all of the skeptics that were out there to be proven 1000% true? Can anybody think of anything like that? Horse paste, fishbowl cleaner, UV tubes, inject yourself with bleach. Yep, no, exactly. All of that, okay, criticizing any of that stuff would have been illegal, and probably still would be, okay, if those statements were made now. But back then, oh no, that was all fine, but we couldn't have that going again, okay? What about politicians, okay, openly and brazenly breaking their own rules? Anything to make illegal on that one? Like showing up to a big party of like 50 people, even if they are some of your closest friends that are out there. No, you don't want to clamp down on that activity. I see. Conformity of thought is now required, whether it is online or college campuses, or if you are in California in a physician-patient relationship. Holy! PayPal recently introduced and then walked it back and then reintroduced the $2,500 fine for anyone involved in sending, posting, or publication of any message, content, or materials that, in PayPal's sole discretion, promotes misinformation. Yeah, they got put on blast for that one. They're like, no, it's not. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, the letter of your TOS is exactly that. And it's like, okay, fine. And then they removed that. And then they put out something the exact same way, but it's just worded a little bit different. I've seen that. Don't really know what to do with all of it. Okay, after a firestorm of criticism, PayPal withdrew the policy, claiming the whole thing was a misunderstanding and was not official policy. No, it's just in our TOS. We weren't going to enforce it or anything like that. It's like, bitch, it's there. Just don't fucking lie to us, okay? Hardly a convincing explanation from the site, with a history of banning those to consider politically incorrect. Yeah, man, whenever somebody gets mass deplatformed for very legitimate reasons, PayPal is always thrown into there, okay? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, Shopify. I even think that, Donald Trump is out there getting fucking suspended by PayPal because it's the only game in town, and they let you know about it whenever they do one of these fucking weird flexes, man. Governor Gavin Newsom recently signed California Assembly Bill 2098, making it the first state to attempt to censor physicians can say about the coof to their patients. This is dangerous and likely unconstitutional effort that other states must resist. Well, let's get into the thick of this. Okay, the statute instructs it shall constitute unprofessional conduct for a physician and surgeon to disseminate information or misinformation, or disinformation related to the coof, including false or misleading information regarding the nature and risk of the virus and prevention and treatment. Okay, and the development, safety, and effectiveness of the vaccines. Cool. Well, okay, cool. So you're going to try to censor what the doctor has to say about that. Okay, unprofessional conduct, misinformation, disinformation, false, misleading information. What timeline are we looking at? Up to date? Currently stuff, okay? Or are we taking a look at what stuff was saying in the background, okay? Are we talking, efficacy of the vaccines? Are we talking about what Pfizer and Moderna want to tell us? Or do we want to talk to what your other reliable sources, like the New York Times, would be saying? And boosters, all great and wonderful, fantastic. Go out there and get your booster, right? Safe and effective, okay? Which is what you would have to say in California. Of course. What did they say about the efficacy of boosters? Oh, about 12 days, then you start to see about a steep drop off, okay? Interesting, though. Are you allowed to tout that? Okay. But who knows? It's so vaguely worded that, hey, man, if we hear about a doctor not telling somebody that something is, for their best health, but we have different interests in mind, yeah, we can just go ahead and snatch them up, I guess. California law requires the Medical Board of California to take action, up to and including license revocation, against any licensed physician charged with unprofessional conduct. Yeah, those are called malpractice lawsuits, okay? But the First Amendment, content-based speech regulation by government entities, is presumably unconstitutional and may be justified. only if the government proves that it is narrowly tailored to serve compelling state interest. Yeah, that's where it gets weird, because they could do this exact same stuff for the likes of lawyers, right? Like, let's just say potentially, there's a politician, okay, he's subject to an election, and then there's certain interesting things that go on the periphery where he just wants to take a look at that, and then there's some lawyers that are assigned to filing lawsuits, seeking petitions, okay, seeking emergency relief in certain areas. Not saying that this happened or anything like that, but then all of a sudden the people that are in power just decide, nope, we're just going to go ahead and start snatching up all of these lawyers that are out there, okay, placing calls to bar associations, seeing if they can get some of their licenses tampered with. It would be funny if we ever seen something like that play out beforehand, and now you're using that as the roadmap in order to censure doctors because you're not quite meeting those vaccination standards that you were hoping to. That whole, grasp of fear that you had beforehand, keeping everybody in their house, having everybody participate in Thanksgiving festivities with sort of a wristband system while you go chill out at not French Laundry, because that would be a direct acknowledgement about what happened. Spanish car wash. How about that one? 2018 Supreme Court case. National Institute of Family and Life Advocates v. Becerra held that professional speech be licensed practitioners based on their expert knowledge and judgment is protected by the First Amendment. Okay, cool. It almost sounds like there's laws on the books, but then California's like, nope. The court, though, it suggests that regulation of professional conduct that incidentally burdens speech might be allowed. Speech is the part of the practice of medicine has historically been subject to reasonable licensing and regulation by states. Okay, it is not clear whether providing information to a patient, such as whether mask wearing works or is necessary, or discussing the safety or in-person learning is close enough tied to medical practice and procedures to pass constitutional musters. Okay, this will undoubtedly be decided in future litigations. It's almost like they knew what the hell was ultimately going to be coming. Ergo, that's where we got the rest of this story. 5 doctors sue California over medical misinformation law. Everybody knew from fucking orbit, okay? They could see this shit going down in real fucking time. Okay, you want to put, the government wants to infringe on something that was so important to the founding fathers that they put it number 1 with a fucking bullet. See how far this gets in the courts, okay? Like, I understand California and California judges, especially the ones appointed by the governors, is going to be a little bit tricky to get around those guys, but you can keep appealing this stuff up. So obviously this is the first of many lawsuits that are going to be coming until this law ends up getting repealed and overturned. It's coming because it seems like it doesn't exactly have that strong a footing, at least by what we've learned from some of this stuff beforehand, but this will be one of the first tests. A group of doctors is suing California officials over the state's new law that lets medical boards punish physicians who offer misinformation or disinformation related to the goof. The law, passed by Democrats in September and signed into law soon after by Governor Gavin Newsom, and yes, he will try to run for president in 2028 if he doesn't continue to fuck his state up any further, because he still, for whatever reason, has the support of Californians, but his term, I don't think he get term limited, because what's his nuts, fucking Jerry Brown, he still would be there if he wasn't fucking dead. I think he's dead. Holy shit, the motherfucker's 84 years old. At least he has sense enough to know, because that's how old... fucking brace for impact on this one. That's how old Joe Biden would be at the end of his second term if he were to win again in 2024. Okay, but at least Jerry Brown knows well enough alone, okay? Left it enough, okay? To fucking step away when Gavin Newsom took over. But there is no term limits in California, which is fucking rich, all things considered. Oh, the Supreme Court, we're so pissed off that you guys have lifetime appointments. It's a fucking one-party state, and it has been for a very fucking long time, okay? You were just swept up by the star power of Schwarzenegger in the early parts of the 21st century, but outside of that, like, come on, man, fucking come on. Jerry Brown, like, I just did a little bit of cursory research. 16 cocksucking years the motherfucker was in charge, okay? He presided over Jonestown, okay? Jonestown. He was intensely and integral to the rise of Jim fucking Jones. So is Nancy Pelosi, but hey, that's another story for another time. California hasn't been for Republicans since fucking Reagan left, for Christ's sakes. But yeah, again, just put me down on the books for Newsom DeSantis 2028, because that's going to be funny as a motherfucker. The law's definition of misinformation as false information that is contradicted by contemporary scientific consensus. Great, wonderful. Okay, the Earth would still be at the center of the universe if we were to adhere to scientific consensus, right? Gravity would be just a simple inconvenience and not empirical proof if we just adhered to the scientific consensus. This is such communitarian thinking, for the lack of better term, bitch-made thinking, and it's perfectly situated in California, so that makes total sense. A clear violation of the United States Constitution, First Amendment, Dr. Tracy Hogue, a Californian physician, and 4 other doctors said, in safeguarding Americans' rights to free speech and expression, the First Amendment applies not only to the expression of majority opinions, but to minority views as well. Indeed, it's a minority view that needs protection from government censorship, as the law shows. Exactly. It's a republic, guys. It's not a simple democracy. Okay, it is not mob rule, nor should it ever be. You've seen that shit play out before, and hey man, it always ends up going poorly. Nor is there an exception to the prohibition of viewpoints-based discrimination, simply because the law applies only to be regulated profession. In short, AB 2098 infringes plaintiffs' First Amendment rights because it impedes their ability to communicate their patients in the course of treatment. Exactly. Like, if the government consensus is, okay, cool, masks all the time, even in the shower, okay, even if you're going out scuba diving, make it work, okay, because masks are important, masks are necessary. It's like, okay, cool, but if a doctor knows that you have asthma, or maybe you have to spend, most of your day inside of an iron fucking lung, you know what, hey man, you probably got a medical reason for that, but then that goes against the public consensus that everybody should be wearing masks all the time. Like, see where this shit can be going wrong, okay? Lawsuit is filed in the United States Court of Eastern California. Plaintiffs want the court to enter a preliminary injunction against the law that would block enforcement until the case is resolved. We have no doubt that courts will see this unconstitutional law for what it is and strike it down. Jenin Jonas, a lawyer at the New Civil Liberties Alliance, who is representing the plaintiffs, said in a statement, "The law is not blocked. Physicians will find themselves in a very difficult position of needing to choose between saying what they truly believe, saying what they think the medical board wants them to say, or simply staying silent." California Medical Board declined to comment, and it's like, I don't know, we have nothing to do with this. This is between Newsom and them doctors. We're just here to make sure that everybody pays their fees at the end of the year and that we have a very nice gathering at the end of the year, a nice holiday party. The other defendants, including Newsom, did not respond to requests for comment. He was too busy gelling his hair and asking people if they like Huey Lewis in the news. The lawsuit is not the first one lodged against the law. 2 doctors sued over it in October, also alleging their free speech rights were being violated. Didn't hear about that one. In a message to lawmakers about signing the law, Newsom said the law would not have a chilling effect on doctors, but believed the law was narrowly tailored to applying those with egregious instances in which the licensee is acting with malicious intent or clearly deviating from the required standard of care while interacting directly with the patient under their care. Yeah, no, exactly. You know who would be silenced under that law? Dr. Robert fucking Malone, the guy who developed mRNA vaccine technology. And hey man, don't want to be hearing from that guy because he might have some uncomfortable truths for everybody to reconcile with, but can't be having that. Need to just go ahead and stomp that out real quick. Safe and effective. Wear your mask. Constantly be afraid. Stay in a bubble. Quarantine. All that fucking dumb shit. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.